get it over to you.
I would check that out.
Okay. Listen, y'all, thank you so much for being in on here with us. And I'm doing better. I'm doing better when people, try to be disruptive and crazy in the chat. Yes, I do need a moderator or two. So I don't even know how that works. You know what I mean? But I would be great if somebody else was in there, like knocking them off the platform instead of being me all the time. But you know what? I don't mind if I have to. I like block parties anyway. But thank you so much for your attention, for your time, for your love, for your feedback, your positive feedback, and even the negative, because it made the rest of y'all have to stand up and say, look, we're not standing for that. So listen, Oak L, if you did not, you must have just logged in if you were asking me right now about an update on Taj. I just gave it. Go back and replay this and get to the end, and then you'll hear me what I just said. I'm not saying it again. Love you. Not saying it again. You must have just logged on. Honestly, did y'all just hear me talk about Grand Sheik?
Yep.
Like not 5 more minutes ago? All right. All right. Love you, love you, love you. I'm getting ready to play the long version out. How about that? How about that? Make sure you support our brother, the chief. He has his Cash App. Make sure it says Rodney Hayes, because it's some other folks like they did us on us. Other people made fake stuff that was close to House of Real Awakening, even used their picture. And then I ended up losing the Cash App, my Cash App, House of Real Awakening, my Cash App, because people were creating other stuff and,
Clone
defrauding.
accounts.
House of Real Awakening Minds does not have Cash App. So please do not send anything that you think might be us, because it's not, because we don't have it. We don't have it. So we have what you see here, Zelle and PayPal, but we don't have this other stuff. Thank you so much. And again,
About to be chiefing. And while I'm chiefing, I actually don't have jack to talk about. I was just watching the Empress on YouTube, and I've been trying to get on here for over an hour. Every time I try to get on, I run into a phone call come in, all kind of stuff. So we're going to let some people come in and drive the direction of the subject matter. But I have been having a ball watching Trump sick his doge on people. Get him. I still got to watch this, video of Elon and his team going through Fort Knox. I haven't seen it yet. Brother sent it to me, and I haven't had a chance to look at it. So, homeboy Oliver, Kyra. Okay, so now, what's going on with y'all? I'm gonna sit back. I'm gonna look. These people been clowning. They butt sore. They butt sore because they auditing the money. You have to know what you have if you're gonna know what you can spend. And they just been spending, and nobody's been checking the accounts, verifying the payouts, making sure they going to the right places, to the right people at the right time for the right reasons. They ain't been doing none of that. Now all these politicians is sitting up here acting like little kids. They crying because mama won't get them go get the popsicle. Mama won't let me have a popsicle. Daddy, mama won't let me have a popsicle. I'm trying to get into this account and they freezing me out. So it's good. It's good. It's good. So before we go any further, if anybody want to come in, send me a request, and we can talk about whatever. I don't really got nothing to talk about. I was just saying I haven't had a chance to see the Fort Knox video, but that's gonna be so good when I see it. It's gonna be like drinking cold water on a hot summer day. I'm telling you, it's gonna be like drinking cold water on a hot summer day. That's gonna be some relief. What's going on, Renee? Lex, what's up? So they want to cry foul because we, the people, want to know where the money going. About the ones activated. Hold on, let me see what that say. You talking to one? So Jay Scroggins said, "Rod, can you talk to us about the ones activated between 1990 and 2003 by the master teacher's voice?" I can't speak for all of them. I can only speak for me because that time frame you mentioned is when I came in tune with Malachi's teachings, and a lot of people didn't understand back then that we was actually fighting a war using conjure magic information. And that's, you remember back then Pops was putting out first he was putting out the Nubian Islamic Hebrew editions when I met him. So when I came across his information, they were Hebrew Israelites. Then in the early 90s, he shifted and opened the Holy Tabernacle Ministries, moved from New York to Georgia. And I'm watching this, and I'm like, what's this all about? And then he started butchering all of the religions, the degree of Mohammedism, the degree of Christism, the degree of Mosesism, where he addressed all of the 360 questions that he had wrote as an answer. So he had a 360 questions to ask the Orthodox Sunni Muslim. They got mad and wanted to kill him because he was asking questions. And it's like I've been saying since I can remember, before I met Pops, if anything above question is beneath me. And then when I read Pops say the same thing, I said, we on the same frequency. I got to find out who this guy is. And then when I'm watching how they removing leadership out of the community, right? What are they doing? Lying. When they tried everything else, see, you got to look. They tried to charge Baba with arson because the Sunni Muslims bombed one of his mosques in New York before he left. And they sent a guy named Nusir, who was an Orthodox Sunni Muslim under the Blind Sheikh, to assassinate Malachi, but the Swords of Islam was on guard for it, right? So that didn't work. So now they tried to assassinate him, then they tried to frame him up, and neither one of them worked. Whenever they exhaust every effort to take down one of our leaders, they have to charge them with some shit that the allegation is the evidence. Right? People don't know how to read paperwork, especially court documents. They don't understand court procedures. They don't understand this. Look, lawyers have to read a book called, like for instance, Michigan Court Rules, the rules of the court. They got a book that the lawyers study. It's called Rules to Criminal Procedures, How to Address Criminal Cases. I read all that stuff. So when I'm looking at everything and I'm seeing what I'm seeing, I'm knowing it's a fix in the game, but I don't know what it is yet, and I can't speak on it until I know what I'm talking about. When I found out that all of the so-called victims had this genetically traceable strain of herpes, Malachi didn't have herpes before the case. He didn't have herpes in prison. How can he have it long enough to give it to these kids? Because this is how they tie them all together, which is called a fundamental aspect of the case, like a main thread, right? So under that main thread, I'm like, nah, that paperwork ain't matching up, right? You got 30 years of STD testing, then no herpes come up. The prosecutor bring in a report saying he got the same genetically traceable strain of herpes as the victims, but he confused. So his doctor tell him, well, when you get where you're going, go get tested. He in prison get tested again, and he still don't got it. he ain't the perpetrator, but there is a perpetrator. Let that sink in. So he's taking the fall for somebody in the community with this same genetically traceable strain of herpes that if they put it under the microscope, they gonna know who did it. I ain't gonna go too much into that. But a lot of the Nubians know what happened. They was there. They seen it. They lay eyes on the dirty players plotting the plot and didn't say nothing. And if you sitting there, my mama said the sealer is as bad as the stealer. You sitting there watching these people orchestrate this plot to come up with a whole false case in order to remove this man so they can have access to his wealth. That's all it's about. It don't got nothing to do with him teaching nobody the wrong information, misinformation, or none of that. They had a whole bunch of people come at him and ain't none of them been successful in proving his information wrong. As a fact, time goes by, it becomes more and more truthful, the things that he got written in his hundreds and hundreds of scrolls that he write. And so when I'm sitting here, I'm like, wait a minute. All these motherfuckers sit here and watch this man get set up. And now, while he gone, they all got their hand in his pocket. They living off his work. They living off his books. They living off his lectures. And they not sending him shit. They want to raise money for lawyer fare. They want to raise money for bail, but he ain't got no bail. They want to do all these fundraisers, and he never see a dime, and he's nowhere in the position to clean his house up, and that was the whole purpose. So you got 30 years or 20 years of people using this man's name to live their life high on the hog while he's sitting in this motherfucking cage. Godfather buried alive. Shout out to Shine Barrows. Just Godfather buried alive. You can't say it no better than that. It's a little different with the government involvement in the downfall of Larry Hoover and Angel Bay and Big Tookie. That's a whole nother animal. It's when the people you love and trust the most turn on you that you become the most disgruntled. And if he got any wickedness in him, it wouldn't be no witnesses breathing. It wouldn't be no witnesses. All of the ones that made that stuff up, they wouldn't be breathing if he was about the wrong thing. He would have been wiped them out. He could have stopped. He could have had the people prepared to stop the feds from arresting him. He had the army to do it, and he told them to stand down. He said, this is a spiritual war. It's bigger than y'all can see right now, and I can't explain it to you in terms you can understand. Right? Look, if you want to see a farce, they got a court TV case with the brother they called H. Rap Brown back in the day, known as Imam Abdul Alamin or Jamil Alamin. He had his own community. They was computer geeks, and they was making all this software that he was selling to Silicon Valley and other places to do different works. Watch that trial and wait for the verdict. You're gonna be shocked that how in the hell did they find this man guilty? How did they do it? Because he was guilty when he came in. In American law, according to what they tell us, you're supposed to be presumption of innocence until proven guilty. But that can't be true. And I'm gonna tell you why. It can't be true because if the presumption of innocence was there, you wouldn't have to stay locked up while you fight your case. Right? They come up, yep, Wesley and H. Rap Brown. You got it, Toya. Late, my bad. You got it, though. So, we got leadership that can't be leaders when we need them the most, while we struggling to find our way in the darkness of this BS that they putting in front of us, and they telling us this is the way life supposed to be. It's not supposed to be like this. You remember Pac said, I know what life's supposed to be like, and it ain't supposed to be like this? This is exactly what I'm telling you. I know what life supposed to be like. I don't want to live here if the matriarchy not intact. Trying to live on earth under this patriarchal, homosexual, pedophile cult dictatorship masquerading as a democracy, a socialist, a communist, or any of that is misery. I read the chapter of misery in the Circle 7. Starts out weak and insufficient and good, oh man. There is one thing in which you are obstinate and shaketh not, and his name is misery. Y'all love that shit. I don't like it. I'm from a whole nother fabric. I'm not into domestic violence. I don't want to beat on no woman. I want to be cuddled up. I'm a gorilla. I'm a huggy bear. I'm a huggy gorilla. I like to be cuddled up like gorillas be cuddled up with they. I ain't with this retarded shit they doing. I'd rather be by myself in my cave, beating on my chest, than deal with the BS where you got to whoop your woman upside the head. That's retarded to me. That's immaturity to me. That's slave doctrine manifesting as the rules of relations. We have so much slave doctrine dominating the culture now. The slave driver, once he's influenced everybody, it's contagion of aberrations as is written in Dianetics. This is how you adopt generational curses from people you ain't even related to. Contagion and aberration. A fucked up idea that somebody take and say, oh, that's a good fucked up idea. I got to use that. And then they use it on somebody. They become victimized by it. The victim imitate the victimizer because the powerless desires power. And because of the powerless desire power, they start to emulate the illusion of power that the dictator is giving them. And I ain't even lit my blunt yet. Ain't nobody sent no request to come chop it up with the chief. Oh. It might be a short one then. Yep, L. Ron Hubbard. Look, they wrote him up as a quack. He told the whole Anunnaki drama in a series of sci-fi writings. They turned one of them into a movie with John Travolta where he was supposed to be playing Inky. But he reacted more like Enlil to me. But that's just their story. You right. They not like us, but we sure as hell act like them. But that's what all that inability to communicate come in. They teach you, like, in general conversation, a child can grasp clearly probably about 100 to 300 words. And that's where they stop you at using their generic school, which is initiating you into the rites of hell, or it's just called sin rites. The sin rites trace back to Babylon, to Ninursin, who masqueraded as Tahuti, and now everybody think the dirt that he did, Tahuti did, and because they used them to replace each other. This is the Anunnaki warfare. It's called the beheading of a god. You put a fraud into place, and then you to give them the credit for all the work that the person did, and then you let the fraud go about doing fraud. It has not changed. It was the same thing in Greece. When the Romans took over Greece, they called it the Greco-Roman civilization because they didn't never want you to think that Rome won and Greece lost, so they put Greece first in their name, but they owned it. So it don't matter which position Greece hold in the Greco-Roman doctrine, as long as they hold a position. So now the Romans got their foot on the Greeks' neck. The Greeks was being educated by the Gorgon priestesses, who later became known as the Delphi priestesses. So, you know, all this ancient history, they pass it off to us as mythology, and it got so much of the story scattered about. Average people don't know about the cultures. We translating right now ancient cultures in the modern context as if it's a modern idea, And this is how it's lost in translation. Because all of the stuff that the ancients classified that they telling us now is gloom and doom is not gloom and doom. Right? The solar flare is not gloom and doom. The Schumann spiking and eliminating all of the rogue elements is not gloom and doom. You can't have, oh, Mike Penny in the house, that's my guy. You can't have, right, a change that's gonna last if you holding on to the past that has faded away. The change can't last if you holding on to the past that's fading away. We yesterday over because we burnt that ditch down by living it. Tomorrow ain't got here yet because we building it today. So every time we live today, we building tomorrow, and every time we live today, we killed yesterday. It's just progression, right? They say that the Anunnakis and Sumer was the first ones to create a clock. No, they didn't create the clock. They invented time. We didn't have time. We lived in what was called the SikApe, the forever time. We didn't know nothing about no restrictions of time and lifespans and all that's immortality. Then when we begin to split into different avatars, well, it's like 30, 40, 50 of us at the same time on the planet because convergence in timelines, the crossing of frequencies in parallel dimensions, in the infinity loop, we be 50 different people. That's why we can't never grasp all our mind until somebody kill off 49. Go back to Jet Li to 1. All of your aspects of yourself have to die for it all to come into the one. Right? This is how you become the one. And this is in the occult world, it's the shadow work that kills off all of the selves in alternate realities to converge them into this one reality, which makes you your most powerful aspect and version of the self. Hey. Ooh. Come on, Jimmy. You've been, just so you know, I can't see you, but I can hear you loud and clear. The audience probably can see you, though.
Oh, this is awesome timing. How you doing?